Welcome to our fifth episode of You Mean the Killer, the YouTube channel. So for this week we talked about the Zodiac Killer in our podcast. Go check that out if you haven't already. And for this week, what we are talking about is we're kind of just creating a profile for the Zodiac Killer. We're taking you guys through, some articles that we came across that we found to be very interesting. We are going to do a little bit of research on camera as well. But yeah, see who we come up. Who do you think it is? Like pre-research.
Pre-research?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't remember the guy's name, but I don't know what the guy's name is.
Okay.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's Alan, dude.
Alan?
Yeah. Pretty sure it's him.
It's a good candidate.
Yeah, because he's like, there's too many coincidences. What's the plural of coincidence? Plural. Coincidences. Various types of coincidence or collection of coincidences. Yes, so I do think that there is a collection of coincidences when it comes to Alan. But I think they're all very situational, so it could totally not be him. So, in an article posted to I think it's called The Examiner, Tuesday, October 21st, 1969, they brought in a handwriting analyst, which said that the Zodiac took effort in changing his handwriting because it was switched between both the use of script and cursive writing, and that it wasn't natural, nobody writes like that. It was the writing. The literal quote is that the writing is not natural to the writer. And then he said that the way the contents were delivered, because of the spacing of the letters and individual letters revealed the writer's personality, and would have done so even if he had written about a sunset. He said that the way he wrote the D's shows that the writer has a little bit of vanity, as well as the letters with the bars at the top and the bottom is a sign of emotion and conflict.
So what he's trying to say is that because he switches between regular writing and cursive makes it unnatural.
Yes, he's saying that he can tell that the letters are not this is not how the person naturally writes.
Well, fun fact,
I write like that. Like how?
Also, question: who knows how to read handwriting? Is that even a real science?
What is that about?
I was actually watching when we were doing research. I watched a documentary on the Zodiac Killer, and there was this one guy that was, brought all the letters and the handwriting and put it into this fancy new machine they just made recently, and the machine couldn't even solve it.
What are you talking about?
Well, I watched this documentary on the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
And this artificial intelligence machine, computer, whatever.
Yeah.
They put in all the letters that the Zodiac Killer wrote into the machine, and they also put in they put specific words that he would probably use, just to indicate killing.
Yeah.
And the machine could not solve it.
But how would the machine be able to solve it?
It's a deciphering machine that solves code, and most of the letters were written in code.
And like I said, is this person saying that it's body language reading? None of these are classified real sciences because one can't produce a set of representable evidence. It can't be replicated. We can't just look at all people that write their E's a certain way to mean something. But I do believe that it definitely has. To some degree.
And if he actually took his time to make his handwriting different, I feel that's really hard. If you have bad handwriting like me, and you're trying to write pretty, it's pretty hard to get all your letters to look nice.
Yeah.
Or reverse. Like if you have really pretty handwriting, I'm sure it's hard to without it looking like really, really bad to get it to look like bad handwriting.
Morphology, just like body language reading, stems from the fact that a lot of movements of your body are controlled by your subconscious. When you write a word, you think about what word you're writing consciously, but how you write it is left to your subconscious that projects some of your traits. The problem with handwriting analysis is that in order to have any sort of accuracy, you have to know some things about the person before you can start forming an analysis. Furthermore, it's hard to discern a subconscious effect from a conscious one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're saying that like your handwriting like does have proof because of like for you to write your E like this instead of like this shows some level of comfortability maybe when you're talking about that word. Like maybe when you write love, you're more likely to write your E rested than when you write hate. You might write it like this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's true.
I agree. But yeah, let's look at that. Because he was saying here again that the absence of the lobes of lower letters show that shows that this is a person who does not indulge in fantasies of sex or sexual participation.
Wait, what? Okay.
Which I think makes sense because remember how we talked about how none of his crimes were like sexually motivated to rape in the video?
Yeah, but I don't know about that. That's kind of like a
stretch?
Like a far-fetched idea.
So they think he's impotent, and a watcher rather than a participant in sex.
Okay, but how can you tell that from somebody's handwriting? Like that's okay. I think that's not true. They're just trying to, make up some tea now.
You think so?
Yeah.
They're saying he feels suspended in heaven and hell, not sure of himself, and feels caught in a trap of merely existing.
Or what if he had somebody else write his letters? You don't know that either. Just like some people, I think you said that some other people thought that some other people licked his stamp. Or what if he had other people write his letters?
Oh no, that was just Alan.
Oh, that was just Alan.
Alan had people look at stamps. We don't know if the Zodiac Killer did.
Okay.
I think if the handwriting is actually true, a lot of the killers that we have looked at this far show sexual deviancy. And him fearing sex is not something new to him, to the Zodiac. It's something that we see with other killers, where they feel this level of, emotional incompetency, and because of that, they end up reaching for killings. Like, Kemper did that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm not, incompetent, physically, I'm just mentally incompetent.
For emotions.
For talking to women.
Okay. That's actually kind of interesting. Investigators are hoping to use a genealogy website to track down the Zodiac. So I think this is trying to, find people that are related to him to link.
Didn't I tell you about that?
Yeah.
Imagine if your dad is a Zodiac Killer or something, and they find out because you shook a 23andMe test.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not doing that.
I really want to do it now that you told me that. I'm not about it.
Yeah, because people can do that. If your kids ever commit a crime, people can link it to your DNA.
And then you got them caught.
And then you get them caught, even if they're committing a really well-stitched crime.
But also they would have to get the DNA test of many people to figure that out.
No, I think they just put it through the system. And it matches. It would show that, for example, if your son commits a crime, or your twin brother commits a crime, it will show that it's 99% or 45% closer than the rest of the population. It's not that they have to run each sample against each other.
No, but what I'm trying to say is they would have to test many people in different families. With different people.
Yeah, but people are saying, how many people do you know took 23andMe?
Well, true.
Like, it's like a popular thing. So, like, a lot of people are doing it.
Don't do it, guys. Please.
Or do it. Like, hopefully you don't have anybody in your family commit crime.
That's true. But just in case.
Yeah, I would never.
I really want to do it. But
I want to do it, but I don't even think, like, I'm from the Middle East. Like, I don't think they're that good in that region. Like, I think a lot of them are very, like, they go in depth in the Western. Versus, like, in other places, they don't go in that much depth. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I think that's true. But then again, we're all descendants from the same place.
So, here are some conclusions about him. He was a white male. Late 20s to early 30s.
At that time.
Correct. Obviously not. 5'8" to 5'10". Heavyset, strong and aggressive. Curly brown or light reddish brown crew-cut hair. Rimmed eyeglasses, which I think he put on as a disguise.
Yeah.
Heavy rims, especially because they use the word heavy rims. So you heavy walk, wears 10.5 boots, and size 7 gloves. Okay. Had a slow and measured voice, unique sound, and he has a monotone. What does that tell us?
That he doesn't express emotions very well.
Yeah. I think he might be like psychopathic. Loner, incapable of holding a steady job. I think that makes him sociopath. The lieutenant suggests that the perpetrator may have had a day job or something else that kept him occupied during the week. Organized, intelligent, and meticulous. Owns a car. 1963 Chevrolet. Wow. So they know what his car.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That's what they found Tim Bundy through his car, so I'm surprised they didn't find this guy.
Yeah. Post-high school educated. Do you think we will ever know who it really is?
I don't know. I don't know if police wasn't put that much effort into finding him anymore since it's so long ago. You know?
I don't think that's why we're not going to find him. I think it's like the lack of DNA evidence. Like, I think things were, like we said in the podcast, that things were mishandled. So obviously, like, people are not going to be able to, like, find things to test. I think a lot of police stations really want to find him, so they are the ones to find, like, the Zodiac Killer. But I don't think they'll be able to at this point. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to our episode on the Zodiac Killer. Like I said, make sure to check out our podcast. It was pretty nice. We're following a new format, so let us know if you like that down below. And remember,
stay safe. Too.